Yeah.
We're live.
We're live. Welcome to Football Dad's Army and special guest star. This guy's a star. Trust me. Watch his channel, the Gooner channel, Dan the Gooner. Blinding channel, Dan. Growing very, very fast. I mean, I've seen some major growth in your channel. My channel's actually grown pretty quickly. I don't know why. But I think it's both our channels over the last 2 weeks or so. There's a little spike. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the new subscribers and the old ones. Stick a like on the video if you like the content. Don't forget to do that. And Dan's channel is the Gooner channel. There's a link in the description. Go and have a look at his channel. It's blinding, trust me.
Watch all the videos. Smash likes. I'm just telling them to watch all the videos on both our channels. Smash as many likes as you can.
I'll tell you what, even if you don't like me, put the thumbs down. It's all right interactive.
I love that. Do you know what? I love it because, tell everyone how much you hate the channel. That'll do me as well.
Blinding. So this is it. This is the weekly roundup show with Dan. We're going to talk about what's happening over the last week in Arsenal. As we know, Declan Rice confirmed medicals tomorrow, I believe.
You were a bit worried there for a bit, weren't you?
I was very worried. I was thinking, but I was getting bored with it and all. I was thinking, just get it done or move on. It was getting on my nerves. But, you kept me down to earth. You kept me feet on the ground.
Would you rather, though? Because I think the big difference is, I know we talked about this a bit before, but the big difference is that in the past, you wouldn't have known we were doing the deal until he held the shirt up.
No, now exactly.
We're involved. So you would have woken up one day and got, bloody hell, Declan Rice, great signing, well done. Now it's like we know everything. We know when the agents are flying into London. I saw that Timber's agents. We know everything, and in a way, it's not good for us.
No, it ain't, because what it does is it makes it even longer. It makes it like you're waiting. Like, it's like waiting for Christmas when you're a kid, isn't it? And it's coming.
But then that's a really good point, because it's like if you've got lots of brothers and sisters, right? He's always got one brother who's like, he gets it in his head, oh, I'm getting an Xbox and a PlayStation and a motorbike, and he gets all this in his head, like he just wants everything. I want this and I want that. We want Caicedo and we want Rice and I want Messi and I want, and they want everything. And then Christmas Day comes and they get great presents, but they're like, I want a Caicedo as well. It's almost like I think the fan base is 75% like happy as they can be. And then there's always that 25%. The 25% who are going, Edu needs to be sacked. Edu's got to go. And now they're going, well, all he's done is sign Declan Rice and we paid too much for him. And you just go at a certain point, you just tune them out. You go like, you're just noise.
Dan, it drives me insane when they say we've overpaid. I don't know how to describe it, how much it angers me, because we've been waiting for years to be able to spend this sort of, be like a Real Madrid, like a Galactico, when they was buying all their players and they're spending the money.
It's a misunderstanding of business. It's all it is. There are people who they talk a good game, but they don't really understand business. If you break this down, he's 24 years old. Let's imagine for a second that it's a 4-year contract, but that he's 24 years old. And if all goes well, he's going to be at the club for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
We'll break it down per year. It's like 15 million a year for the services of a player, the exclusive services of a player who could well go on to be England captain and could well make the difference. The reality of looking at this, from my point of view, I've been doing a lot of research in the last couple of weeks. I've become more and more interested in the finances of football. The reality is football is about to go big. And money is going to come into football that hasn't been there before. So what I would say to anyone is if we overpaid for Declan Rice, you'll know we've overpaid for him if in 4 years' time we can't sell him for at least 105 million. The reality is, Jude Bellingham went for 115. Caicedo, who's had one good season, is going to go for about 80, right? So how is Declan Rice not worth 20? I could see Moses Caicedo. I know there's going to be people watch this and think, I'd still like to get Moses Caicedo. For me, I'm not sure about his temperament, right? So I don't know if he's going to kick it, be a problem in the dressing room, anything like that. With Declan Rice, you are signing a player that gets on well with the team already, is one of the few absolute leaders I've seen. right? He is an absolute leader. He does. He puts the rest of the team first. He's behaved impeccably all through this transfer. You know what you're getting with Declan Rice. You're getting someone who comes into that dressing room. He's outstanding on the ball, right? He's great at shielding the back four. And from everyone who's been talking about working with him, everyone has good, positive things to say about him. And beyond that, he's apparently, we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg with him. He's done one job at West Ham. And so when you hear things about how well he carries the ball, we know that. But when you hear that he's got great finish as well, there's no end to what a player like that can do for you. And if that isn't enough, if the resale value alone isn't enough to consider paying this much money for him, all I would say is, in terms of our commercials, Arsenal have fallen way behind, even Spurs, right? Because we didn't have Champions League football. If Declan Rice keeps us in the top four, doesn't win us the Premier League, but keeps us in the top four, it's 3 million a game in the Champions League that you make. You've only got to make 30 games in the Champions League that you wouldn't have done otherwise. So 4 seasons, and he's paid for himself. And I just think, apart from anything, the Kroenkes run franchises in sports, hockey, basketball, American football, they're not dummies. If they genuinely didn't think this was going to make a difference to the value of the club, they wouldn't have sanctioned it. And so all the people worrying about how much we've spent.
Yeah, exactly that. I'll make you right. And don't forget, they spent money in their American sides, the NFL, the basketball, the ice hockey. They spent big money in all them, I think lacrosse as well. And they.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know anything about lacrosse.
Yeah, they had. I heard something about lacrosse, and they've won. They've won the title. Like they've won the equivalent of the Premier League in all them other sports. So
this is the only one left. This is the only one they haven't. And look,
I believe I've got the belief, Dan. Do you know what as well? They've signing the players they're signing. They instead of rushing like they did last summer. You know, with the likes of Nuno Tavares and the Conga and players like that, I think they was more. I know they got it done early.
That was the year before.
Oh, was it? Sorry, the year before.
Yeah. Last year was great. Last year was Jesus, Zinchenko.
Zinchenko, Rams. Ramsdale was the year before. And who else was it? Well, anyway, what the point I'm trying to make is I don't think they really thought that through. With players like Lukonga and
I think
because it was Project Youth, wasn't it? It was by
who isn't interested in I mean, I'll be honest. When I saw Tavares play, he looked like a rough diamond to me, and I remember thinking Lukonga looked like he had something about him. He's obviously a player, but the key thing with Tavares and Lukonga isn't their footballing ability; it's their temperament. So Tavares, if you take Tavares as an example, he goes to Marseille, he scores on his debut, they're all loving him, and then he gets himself into a situation where he gives it a 2-0 to the Montpellier. He gets sent off, and there's a brawl on the pitch.
Yeah.
The manager, the coaches got fed up with him. Arteta apparently got fed up with him. There's a point where what I'm seeing now from Arsenal is they are signing on, like Alex Ferguson used to. He used to go I can train him how to play football. I need a certain temperament. I need there's an Arteta type of footballer that keep their mouth shut, like Ben White, Saliba, Declan Rice, Odegaard. They're strong on the pitch. They're super intelligent. They're tactically very astute, and they keep their mouth shut when they're not in the papers for off-field activities. They're intelligent footballers, like you would expect from a player like Arteta, Messi, right? So I think Tavares doesn't fit that.
Also, not like a rebellious sort of type, like Guendouzi.
No, nothing like that. No,
I said not your rebellious type.
Yeah, totally agree. Like Guendouzi, Guendouzi has ability, right? But he's got a ridiculous temperament. He's got to be the center of attention. He's chasing after everything. He won't do what he's told tactically. So he fell out with him. And when Arteta falls out with someone, that's that for them. And I like that about him. So for me, I think when it came to it, there's a change in how they've signed players. When Arteta first came to the team, I don't think he could walk in there and go, I want this and I want that. He was a young manager, unproven, and he wasn't doing that well. So I think he was led a little bit more. Now, him and Edu have a great partnership. And I can, listen, when you talk about Declan Rice, the rumours are, and I'm sure we'll find out in the coming days, Arteta visited Declan Rice at his home and talked him into it. Odegaard famously said, if you want someone to come to Arsenal, get Arteta to talk to them. When Arteta speaks to these players, certain intelligent players, they get it, they understand the process, and their mind's expanded by him.
Yeah.
Right. And I think now he's very much going out and getting players where he thinks that the temperament is right. And I think that's why we've moved away from Moises Caicedo. I think that's why Cancelo hasn't happened yet, although I could be wrong about that. I think he's much more following the Alex Ferguson lead. Arsene Wenger was brilliant. You know, and they're going to build a statue. We should probably talk about that in a little bit.
I was going to mention that as well. Yeah, because that was on my list.
Arsene Wenger was a hero. Like, there's
no. Why I didn't mention that, but before when we were talking backstage, because I thought was that I wasn't sure. If I was thinking, is it fake news?
I think it might. Listen, I don't know till they unveil it, but I've seen it in a couple of places, and to be honest with you, if anyone deserves one, it's him, right? I mean, if anyone, you know.
I actually thought to myself, because I haven't been to the Emirates for quite a while, I actually thought to myself, I've seen the statue of Arsene Wenger. I'm thinking in the back of my head. And I'm thinking, is this old news? Is this fake news? This is why I did mean to mention it to you backstage. But I remember seeing, like, you know, when he done that, when he stood up and he was like that with his arms out.
What, fiddling with his coat?
No, not when he was fiddling with his coat. It was like, I'm sure I've seen some sort of statue, or maybe it might have been plans for a statue.
Hopefully,
it might have been. I'm not sure, but that's in my back. I might have dreamed it. I don't know. I've dreamed it.
But the reason I mention him is because there's no question that he was, a genius, right? There's no question that he knew a footballer. But where he never got the balance right is he never signed characters. Right, he got Tony Adams and Martin Keown. He got Patrick Vieira. I'll give you that. But he would buy a player on talent. He'd play players together if they had the skills. And football is a team game, and it's not just about the skills you have. It's about having the vision as well. So you need people who fight, that are determined, that pull together, that support each other. I think what you're seeing now is Arteta is starting to pick on character. I think, look, that I know that Jurrien Timber, Kai Havertz, and Declan Rice are all supremely gifted footballers, but I don't think that's what they have in common. I think what they actually have in common is they are quiet, resolute, determined, and they have that extra quality that we've been missing. We've missed since Jack Wilshere. You know, Cesc Fabregas was captain. He was a great captain, but he wasn't really a great captain. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't vocal. He wasn't vocal, was he, on the pitch? No. And he wasn't
captains like that are vocally strong on the pitch, and then we'll sit down and listen to the boss at our time. You know, you're as a captain to project what the manager wants you to do to everybody else, and you got to crack the whip with everybody else on the pitch. But in the dressing room, it's down to the manager. And when some players get above their station a little bit, when they're allowed, they give it an inch and they take a mile, and that's when you got to crack that. Yeah, that's when you got.
I think you'll see it, and I think we're starting to see. Look, I know that everyone wants to hate Arsenal. They do. Look, it's a little bit. I don't care what anyone tells me. I've not seen toxic fan, but I haven't seen. Look, we're a club like any other club. We're massive and we've got a huge history. We're going to have some dickheads in our fan base, right?
Yeah,
there's no getting away from. There are, of course, there are. There and you know we've got the most social media presence, so obviously we're going to have more of those than other. But there is this kind of nonsense that, we've missed our chance. No, we haven't. You know, there's this nonsense that Man City are going to win everything in front of them. I tell you what's really interesting to me, when you watch the Man City team that beat Inter Milan in the final, and they had a bit of help from Lukaku, no doubt, but they all look like grown-ups to me. That team that Pep Guardiola's put together, and it came through in the all or nothing season about Man City, and it came through for Arsenal as well. Look, first of all, Pep Guardiola is the best manager in the world. He came up in that Johan Cruyff ideology under Barcelona. He absolutely, he has lines. He knows what he's expecting. One of the things with Pep Guardiola is if you sulk or you moan or you whinge or you start throwing your hands around, and Kevin De Bruyne has been on the wrong side of Pep Guardiola.
Yes, he has.
Yeah,
he
so
he was benched for about 5 games once, wasn't he?
Because he sulks. Because KDB sulks like everybody else, who's got a massive ego. So my point here is that Pep Guardiola and Arteta, obviously, look, we might benefit from it if we get Cancelo, but there are types of players. When it comes down to it, that the Man City team, they look like adults. They get on with their job. They're no fuss, no frills. They do what they're supposed to. They keep themselves. I mean, apart from Jack Grealish, who likes to be in the paper as a bit of a razzmatazz, Ilkay Gundogan, Rodri. These are kind of players who come to work like it's a full-on profession, like it's the most important thing in the world. They do their business and they go away. And that comes from the leadership. That comes from Pep Guardiola and what he tolerates and what he won't tolerate. We're starting to see that with Arteta now. But also, I think people saying that we had our shot and we missed it. Why did we miss it? We missed it because we were short of cover. Now, there might be room to talk about this for an hour or two, but where Arteta does need to improve is off the bench, and he does need to, his rotation definitely needs to improve. Now, if you take it, one side of this could be Arteta didn't bring in players because he just didn't trust them. He trusted about 13, 14 players last season, and now we've got an extra 3. We've lost 1, but hopefully bring enough players that he trusts them all. Or you can just say he's a young manager, and in the glare of the spotlight, he didn't make decisions like he would do if he was a cool, calm, collected Pep Guardiola, right? So there is a balance, and I think Arteta is learning. But let's keep this in perspective, that in his first 3.5 years in management, not at this club, in management, right? He has built a team who were 11th when he got here, and they're now title charge. And I see progress. And if you add to what he's already built, a player of the stature of Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, who just 3 years ago everyone was talking about as possibly the greatest player in the world, and Jurrien Timber, who I've watched a bit of now. I'm really excited. I think he's going to play him at right back.
Yeah, but I don't think he should get in front of Ben White straight away.
No, Ben White. This was talked about a lot last season. The way that Ben White inverted really well. Ben White's being considered as a midfielder now. So they're going to reposition Ben White into the midfield, which answers a lot of questions that most of us still had outstanding, right?
Yeah.
So why would you let Partey leave if you don't have a midfielder to replace him? If you look at Ben White and you look at Declan Rice, Ben White's career has taken a different trajectory, but he started as a centre. Declan Rice started as a centre back, and he's progressed into midfield. I think the type of footballer that Arteta likes is, and especially someone who's tactically intelligent like Ben White, you could transition him to a holding midfielder quite quickly. So I don't think that the idea of bringing Timber in is just to replace Ben White. But I've heard mutterings that Gabriel's being looked at by teams across, that people are making audacious attempts for Gabriel coming up. And I could actually see that. We may not have the centre-back pairing that we did last season. It may go back to Ben White in the centre-back pairing. But
I don't think he was good as a centre-back, though, Dan. His season, the season before last, when we signed him as a centre-back, paid 50 million for him. I don't think he had a good season. I don't think he was that good. He wasn't no better than Rob Holding in my eyes in that first year. I'm telling you, my opinion.
You're entitled. Listen, I take your opinion seriously. I do. I'm not going to argue that. But what I would say is that a player's first season at a club.
It's not his first season in the Premier League, though, was it? Because he played for Brighton.
That's not the same. That doesn't matter. You watch. Listen. All right. I'll give you a really good example of this then. Cucurella. He fell off. Blinding season at Brighton, goes to a new club.
Unbelievable.
He just doesn't fall off. He basically stopped playing football, didn't he?
We actually spoke about this, didn't we? Because of the Graham Potter thing when he went to Chelsea. He sold Cucurella first to Chelsea.
Yeah, I know.
And then he joined Chelsea, didn't he? So there might have been a little bit of...
I think the reason we've paid 105 million for Declan Rice is because you can never be certain, but you're pretty certain that he's not going to fall away in the first season.
I know. I am double confident that that's not a player is going to He's not. He's not going to make it or cut the mustard at Arsenal.
He is definitely. But what I would say is a note of caution.
He's going to be. He's going to be our best midfielder since Vieira, in my opinion. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The only thing I would add a note of caution, and I hope that Arsenal.
I'm 100% confident on that.
I hope Arsenal fans listen to this because you know, if I had a magic wand, I'd say all Arsenal fans need to understand that this is a project. That we're coming up to stage 4 of a 5-stage project to win the Premier League. If we don't win silverware next season, but we qualify second again for the Champions League, you know there'll be fans calling for Arteta's head. You know they'll want to see an end to this project. And I just want to say, look how long Man United gave Alex Ferguson.
Yeah. And
please bear in mind where we were when he took over and where we are now. And I hope for one that, because look, game you and me are in, right? Like, the easiest thing in the world is for me to do an Arteta out video, and I'll get twice as many hits on that as I would if I did, everything's going well.
Dan, I was doing them. 2019, 2020, 2021 even. I was doing them.
What, the Arteta out?
Yeah, I was doing them. Go back on my channel, but the shorts, because I started this channel was like doing little shorts. Beginning of last season, I think it was. But I've got another channel as well, so I was putting him on, which was a sports channel, but now it's an actual niche down to a boxing channel. The other one, Chatbox TV. But there was Arteta out videos on that one. Then
fair play to you.
I had to split the boxing and the football into.
I was totally. If before boxing, I can put it down to an exact game. Before Boxing Day, when he had to drop Willian, I think Willian was either suspended or injured, and he brought in Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka got a game because there was, I was at the point there where me and my brother had a really long conversation about it, and we were both going, God, if only we'd gone for a better manager. This guy's not cut out for it. I was making the point then. And I wasn't saying he should go, by the way. I was making a point that you wouldn't take a multi-million-dollar company and put someone in with no experience as CEO, right?
Yeah.
I was wrong. I'm first to admit when I was wrong. I thought Arteta would make a good manager one day, but probably not. What he's achieved has been breathtaking. Because it's not just about where we are in the league. Because there have been seasons under the end of Wenger era where we were second and we just weren't very good, and it never looked like we were going to win. There was a year we came second to Leicester, which I know we should have probably come third.
We should have won the league that year.
You should have won the league that year, but the difference now is Arteta's changes have not just happened on the pitch; they've happened in the culture of the entire club. They've happened by having the engagement with a fan base.
It's unbelievable. The difference.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm more in love with this squad of players and this version of Arsenal than I think I was with the Invincibles. And I used to go and watch the Invincibles week in, week out, and I love them. And we were spoiled rotten for a little bit there, weren't we? Because we did get used to likes of, Vieira and we just did. We thought that was normal. I started watching Arsenal when Tony Woodcock was normal, and by the end, I'm like, we've got the best player in the world.
We did still play the following season. We still took another 12 or 13 games. We was unbeaten, so we was about I think
49.
About 49, wasn't it? Yeah.
49. So well done, brilliant. But I think young people who weren't around 20 years ago for the Invincibles build it up like they were amazing every game. No, they weren't. They weren't. There were
games. There was a lot of draws in there. About 12 draws.
12 draws, 26, 12. That's the record. Now, and they scored 88 goals. It's worth remembering that. We scored as many goals as the difference was when the Invincibles won the league, there wasn't a Man City.
No.
And I'm fascinated by Man City. Obviously, they have advantages that other teams don't have. There's that documentary that came out. I know that I've only watched half of it. Fascinating stuff. But look, there's always going to be clubs in football that can just do what they want. And Man City are that club at the moment. But what they've intelligently done is they've gone out and got Pep Guardiola to build. But I don't think he's built a kind of legacy that will survive him. Whereas what I think Arteta is doing is he's he's doing much more than just putting good players together. But there are great. I mean, listen, I don't know if you saw this, but a list of the top 10 wingers in the world at the moment, and Saka's number 1 and Martinelli's number 5. We're the only team to have 2 wingers on that list. We, as a club, have put together. I mean, one's from Hayland, one was signed pre-Arteta. I'm not giving Arteta credit, but he has to play them and he trains them. And I think if we hadn't signed Rice, if we hadn't signed Timber, if we hadn't signed Kai Havertz, the best bit of transfer business we did this season was getting Saka on a long-term contract. And now we've got Saliba on a long contract. Martinelli. Odegaard's joining on a long contract. For the first time, I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, for the first time, and as long as I can remember, we're not looking over our shoulder at who's coming in for our players.
Yeah.
They want to be here, and that's down to Arteta.
It is.
And when he talks to a player, they get it, they understand it, and they feel improved. Jack Wilshere was brilliant because he said he spent his career under Arsene Wenger and he used to love the coaching. But when he came and saw Arteta coaching, he was like, "This is different." There is something quite wonderful about being an Arsenal fan at the moment, and it is almost a little bit funny to me because we know that there are the toxic fans out there who are never happy. They make their living out of slagging off the club, and so they must be desperate for content at the moment. Because who do you slag off now? Edu Gaspar? No, he's done everything we could have wanted him to do. Arteta is doing an amazing job, but if we don't win silverware next season, there will be a vocal minority of people saying it's not good enough. We need better standards. We should be like Real Madrid, where we sack someone every 20 minutes. Look,
so what does that make the club? It doesn't make the club like the spirit of the club. That's all that to do. It rip it back out again.
Who would you replace Arteta with right now anyway?
I wouldn't replace him with anybody. Well, Pep Guardiola, but that's not going to happen.
No,
but that would be the only manager in the world that I'd even consider.
I wouldn't even. I know it's probably going to be.
The only manager I'd even consider.
I wouldn't even consider it because what you'll see at City is Pep will rip the heart out of them and go. He's going in 2025. He ain't staying.
They're going to have to bring in what they'll do. Right, City. They'll bring in For the last year of his contract, they're bringing an assistant who will take over from him.
Mate, it's never been that easy. I
think that's what I think they'll do because they want to.
Remember Brian Kidd?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Steve McLaren?
Yeah, I know. They took over from.
Yeah. No, they were Alex Ferguson's assistants.
Oh, do you know Steve Rand, who just left the club, by the way? He was Steve McLaren's assistant manager when he was England manager.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was been an assistant manager at Everton and Newcastle and Man United. Was it Man United? I think it was Man United.
But my point would be
England as well.
Give me who's the most successful assistant manager who's become a manager there's ever been.
Right, give me a minute. Let me have a think.
I might have to look it up then.
Let me have a think. The best assistant. I remember one at Newcastle. Who was it? Garver. He was saying, he said, so I think he was Kevin Keegan's assistant.
Oh.
I think he didn't get the Newcastle job, and he was blowing his own trumpet, saying how great he was and all that. Something Garver, I think his name was. I can't really remember exactly, but the greatest assistant manager, it's got to be. Oh no,
I think it's an easy one. This one.
No, I can't think of anyone that's been great that was an assistant.
Jose Mourinho.
Oh, he was Bobby Robson's assistant manager, wasn't he, at Barcelona?
And translator and tactical coach.
Of course.
And what's beautiful about Jose Mourinho is he's the dark side. So he's at Barcelona, which is, the whole Cruyff philosophy of space. Everything in football is about space.
Yeah.
And Jose Mourinho learns that from the ground up. His tactical awareness of how Barcelona play is as good as anybody's. Right, he comes up in that system, but he does the opposite. He closes down space. So he realizes that for a great team to play, they need space, and to stop a great team playing, you close down space. I just think this is beautiful. But I guess the point I'm making is you're suggesting that Pep Guardiola gets himself an assistant manager and teaches him everything he knows in a year. It ain't gonna happen. And it is.
I know that, but maybe that be part of the deal to be taking over a team as like Man City. Maybe they look at Luis Enrique. I know he's just gone to PSG, but maybe they look at a top manager like that to be like, you're going to replace me.
Yeah, who's the top manager? But who?
Well, I don't. Well, I can't.
I mean, there aren't any top managers out there right now.
You just pick a name out of an act.
You can't. But you can't
No.
look at what's gone on at Chelsea. They've ended up.
Maybe Arteta will go back there.
That's the talk. That is the talk.
Maybe Arteta will go back there, but then I'll be gutted.
Why would you go to Man City though? What do you get at Man City that you don't already have at Arsenal?
If Arsenal sack him, then he'll go like that.
Listen, you know what? It would be unprecedented for the Arsenal fan if we did something as stupid as that.
The only way Arsenal board to sack Arteta is if the fans protest like they did to get Wenger out.
Well, even then, that's a different situation as well, because that wasn't a period where the Cronkies had full control.
No, I know, I get that, but what I'm saying is that'd be the only way.
They, as owners of successful sports franchises, they don't really listen to fans that much.
Okay.
And I don't think you should listen to fans that much. There's a great quote again from Barcelona. I think it is Cruyff again, but he says, I tend to think that if football writers really knew a lot about football, they'd be playing it, not writing about it. And I think that as much as you and I are entitled to our opinion, and all of the people watching are entitled to their opinion, and we're entitled to talk about it, there are people who understand football, and there are people who understand business, and there are people who understand running a sports franchise. And I think my experience of running a sports franchise compared to Stan and Josh Kroenke's, it's just not there. These guys, what I think is brilliant is the whole argument about, oh, Man City got loads of money. Look, it's not how much money you've got, because you can be Todd Bowley and have all the money in the world that comes out of Saudi and your investment fund and waste it and squander it and piss it up a wall. Or you can do what Sheikh Mansour did, where he goes, this is what people don't realize. He didn't go and get Pep Guardiola first. First, he went and got the guy at Barcelona who brought Pep Guardiola in. So they went, we need the best people in the world to run a football club for us. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think great teams do. They don't go and get them out. But there isn't a natural evolution behind Pep, because the plan was to build a sports brand quickly. They weren't patient about it. Look at what Roman Abramovich does. He comes in and goes, right, I want everything, bang. I want this guy, that guy. And when Abramovich left, the biggest mistake that Todd Bowley made was he sacked a lot of the really good people that Abramovich had put into those positions. He made him sporting director, which is the most bizarre thing he's done. And he's done some bizarre things. But at Man City, and I would love it if somebody's a Man City fan and they can come and talk to me about it. Man City, I don't think have laid the preparation for Pep leaving. Whether they think they can tempt him for another 5 years after this contract, or whether they just don't care because it's all about the short term, win the Champions League and then go and attract a manager. Maybe they think they can get an Arteta. Maybe they can. But what it boils down to for me is Arteta has changed the fundamentals of Arsenal.
He has. Do you think, can I ask you a question quickly? Do you know Arteta, when Wenger left, 2019, was it 2019? Yeah, it was 2019. He was interviewed
18 or 19. Yeah, I actually don't.
He was interviewed to replace Wenger before Unai Emery or Freddie Ljungberg, then Unai Emery.
Yeah, so was Luis Enrique. So was Luis Enrique.
Luis Enrique. Yeah, but Arteta. Do you think if Arteta would have got the job like 2 years before, do you reckon we would have won the league by now? Do you reckon we would have won the league last season?
No. I mean, it's a great question.
Because it would have had an extra 2 years more experience on top of what he's...
I think that, no, because I think the fan base, and I would probably have been part of that problem. We would have gone like Arteta. I wasn't excited about Arteta getting the job.
Nor was I.
I didn't want him to get the job. I wanted a big name. This reminds... Is this been
I wanted Mourinho.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And when he went to Spurs, I thought, for fuck's sake, I
never wanted Mourinho.
I did. I'm sorry to say, I wanted him. I wanted Conte.
But it's a great question. But the reason I would give is that there is this lazy story that Pep Guardiola is a wizard and he's taught Arteta everything he knows, and it's just horseshit. But Pep Guardiola does play bad cop, and Arteta was a good cop for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it would be stupid to say that Arteta didn't learn something from Pep Guardiola. But beyond that, so leaving that to one side, I would say the problem Arteta would have had is he would have come in with no experience really at Man City that would have given us a bit of confidence in him. He wouldn't have been able to attract players like Jesus and Zinchenko, who've definitely made a difference. You know, he wouldn't have been able to do that, and he would have probably got he should have probably been sacked when we lost the first 3 games the season before, right? He should have probably been booted. I mean, we were
Brentford beat us
Chelsea
the
and
first game.
City.
Chelsea and City, and it was embarrassing. And we was bottom, and Spurs were top. Yeah,
and it's not just that. I put a clip because I was talking about players loaned. Players and what's going to happen to them. And Alex Runarsson. And I remember the City game where he was in goal for, I think it must have been the League Cup final. And bloody hell, you couldn't have, I mean, at the time, I just couldn't even stand watching us. I was watching that game going, we're going to get our asses handed to us here. And then this keeper flaps about for the first goal, taps in the second goal. And you're just like, I'm so sick of being embarrassed about my club. And I think at that point, your nerve would go. You'd go, right, this manager doesn't know what he's doing, get rid. And it would have been, as it was, I think Arteta knew he was really close to losing his job. And that's under the Kroenkes, full management. And I think 2 years earlier, they wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. They would have had to. There is this feeling that if we've made a really good transition under the Kroenkes, it's away from fan power. Fans have, of course, got... Listen... Let's take an example from a different world of entertainment, because sports is entertainment, right? I love the Rolling Stones, say, right? Mm-hmm. And I love them so much that I should decide what songs they play, or write, or how they play. And you go, mate, you're a fan. You can be the #1 fan of the Rolling Stones, but it doesn't mean you can write a song like them. At a certain point, you've got to be a fan and go, I'm here to support.
You're a fan for a reason.
Yeah.
You're a fan because you're following what they're doing, not what you want them to do.
Hallelujah. Let's be honest. If I could take this hat off and put on a hat which gave me the wisdom, insight, and knowledge of football that Arteta has, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. I'm on the sidelines for a reason. Exactly like you said. I'm on the sidelines because it's all I'm qualified for. Yeah. And I'm not more qualified than every other fan. You, me, all the other fans, we've all got an opinion. We're entitled to it. But it becomes about, the modern era becomes about a lot of young people. And we've talked about some of the toxic people. I don't want to name them, but people who go, it's not good enough. We've got to have standards. It's not good enough. And you go, who are you? What entitles you?
You cannot enforce your opinion on other people.
No.
And then if because they've got a difference of opinion, slag them off and point them out because their opinions are different.
It's not even that. And it's not even that. It's this stupidity of people going, look, I want Arsenal to be really good and therefore it should happen. It's like, well, what have you done to make it happen?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have bought Willian. Oh, because you're clever afterwards. That's why. I mean, when we signed Willian, I don't really like signing players from Chelsea. I'll be honest with you.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Always, isn't it? Always. And then the problem is, and some of these people go, what are you signing Ramsdale for? He's rubbish. And then he's good. And then they go, well, I was right at the time. And you go, okay, well, do you know what? Football is about being right for the future. So I'm going to go and buy this kid and I'm not going to listen to you. I think Arteta, the Kroenkes, Edu, everyone, if we are to be successful, they stop listening. There's a really good analogy in leadership, which is, if you've got you've got on any vessel, ocean-going vessel has a captain, right? And that captain will have a person who's a navigator. And he will ask the navigator which direction they need to go to avoid a storm. But the crew will all be like, no, we don't want to go that way. We've been sailors a long time. And in our guts, we know we should go this way. And he wants us to go this way. Now, if you're the captain and you listen to the crew, you don't deserve to be a captain. In life, there are people qualified to have an opinion. And then there's people who are not qualified to have an opinion. And you're all entitled to an opinion. But if I've got a brain tumor, right, I don't go and ask everybody's opinion what I should do about it. I go and ask the person who's qualified. And you have to trust that That person, if 100 people tell me it'll be all right, just sleep on it, and that one person says, no, you need an operation today, I'm not listening to the 100 people. We, as fans, have a right to an opinion. It's an entertainment business. This is what we're doing, right? We're sharing our opinions.
Yeah.
We're qualified to do it. If people don't want to listen to us, they just, it's easy enough. Don't even click on, move on, right? So if what we're saying doesn't appeal to people, they have a right to not be interested. Like we were saying earlier, we're only half joking when I say, like, if you don't like what I do, put a down like on it. Because I'd love, YouTube will work out from when you click down or unlike on something that people like you aren't going to like me, and then it doesn't send it to them, and then I'll do better anyway. But when it comes to Arsenal, we've got to stop listening to fans. We signed Nicola Pepe, right? He's back at the training ground now. No one knows what the hell to do with him. We're going to end up paying his last year of his contract off. We signed him because the fans wanted a big name signing.
Yeah.
It wasn't right for the club. We've been needing a defensive midfielder for the last 10 years, right? Like, we signed this every season. It's like, we need a defensive midfielder. Well, here's Lacazette. Oh, brilliant. Well, we need a defensive midfielder. Right, well, we got your Aubameyang. Yeah. Right, we desperately need a defensive midfielder. How about a little tricky winger? Do you want him? No. It's like, now we've got to go through an era of where we're fans and we're entitled to scream and shout. But I love... The one thing I really love about Arsenal now is that we've got the Ashburton Army, and that kind of... I know that there were a few disputes about how they were treated last season, mostly from the police, as I understand it. But we've got this group of group of fans who believe it is their job to get that atmosphere jumping. And they've been encouraged to do that, and I hope they're further encouraged to do that. Yeah. And it's our job to shout even when we're losing, and Emirates is a fortress because of fans like that last season.
Do you know what? I'm sorry. I just wanted to just jump in quickly on that one with the Ashburton Army. Are you? I'm not really a fan of the song. Are you?
LA.
No, North London Forever one. What one's that? I'm not really a fan of that song.
Listen, I write songs, and it did something for me. I love listening. I'm a fan of songwriters, and I understand that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. We needed an anthem. I tell you what, this is a trivia question that you might know the answer to. Good old Arsenal, we're proud to sing that name while we sing this song. I hate that. I hated that. I've hated that forever, right? For the 1971 Cup final. Do you know who wrote that?
No, I don't.
Jimmy Hill.
What, with the chin? Give me the chin.
Yes. Jimmy Chin. Yeah, Jimmy Fulham. Wow. Yeah. So the reason I bring that up is because North London Forever, it does make... But I'm from North London, right? So you're an East Londoner, right? Yeah. So you know what it's like. Do you know what I mean? There are. I think East London's got more community than North London almost. But there is something that... I don't live in North London anymore, and I lived in North London for 40 years. And there is something about that song that makes me proud, and we needed an anthem. It probably... my dream would be that I write the next one. Because I don't necessarily think it's the best, but I do like him, and his name escapes Lewis Dunford. Yeah, and I like him a lot. I think he's written some great songs. He's from Islington. He's a great songwriter. He's a humble, intelligent, creative songwriter. I don't think it's his...
It was there at the Emirates the first time they sang it, weren't they? Weren't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure it was the first time they sung it, but they did sing it in the Emirates. I mean, I follow him. I like what he does a lot. And I think he's a great songwriter, but no, I don't think it. Listen, you want it to be, for me, the real anthem is LA, 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 right? That's what we sing. We won the league at Anfield, we won it at the Lane. That's really what gets me going. That's what the hairs on the back.
We won the league at Anfield. Look at that shirt behind me.
Yeah, exactly. I love that shirt. That's
1989.
That's the shirt.
Right. So let's just move on then. Listen, amid the confirmation of Declan Rice yesterday, today the confirmation of Granit Xhaka leaving the club to going to Bayer Leverkusen. I think he signed a 4-year contract. I think with the option of a fifth as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that
great deal. What a deal for him! What a deal for him!
And I'm really pleased for him. And there's a lot to be said about this as well, because I know Xabi Alonso was somebody that was being speculated might go to Tottenham, right? Before Postecoglou went there, right?
Yeah,
and I remember, and that scared the crap out of me, because I think Xabi Alonso is a good manager. I do watch German football a fair bit, and I think he's joining a brilliant project, Leverkusen. It's difficult in Germany because, look, it's like playing, it's how well can you do? I mean, what's a successful season for Leverkusen is like, they'll win a cup maybe, but even then that's going some. So I think there is the offer they made him is fantastic.
No,
he's, and the quality of life for him and his family in Germany is going to be great. I'm really pleased for him, but we are going to miss his personality, and we're going to miss his leadership.
Okay, so we're thanking him for the memories and good luck for the future. Yeah. Even though I thought you was an arsehole, Granite.
That's the best story out there, isn't it? I mean, like, if you look at it,
I thought the redemption was there, and if I had a hat on, I'd tip it to you.
Because I'll do it for you. I said it to you.
I've got to put your hands up. I would have, because I'm very reactionary, and you might have seen it on some of my videos. Everyone, sometimes I have to sit down and have a little think. Like you're very down to earth, and this is why I think, it's like chalk and cheese a little bit, but we also got the same sort of idea.
I watch because you do your videos. See, I do my videos at night. You do your videos in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And I really, so almost the first thing I do, because I get up about 6:45. Almost the first thing I'm doing before I've had a coffee is I'm watching you. And I thought, like, the one where you did Mason Mount and you were talking about how's he got the 7, and I'm like, that's how I feel in the morning. Right? But by the evening, you're like, do you know what? Like, actually, I still don't see how they've given him the number 7. I do agree with you on this.
No, yeah, some of their most iconic players have won.
And you mentioned it in passing when you did your video this morning, and you said when they gave Eddie Nketiah 14, that's a mistake.
Oh,
fucking mistake.
Dennis Bergkamp's number as well with the Smith Rowe.
Well, that. No, because I'm a huge Smith Rowe fan.
I'm not saying I'm not a Smith Rowe fan. I'm just saying pressure that put on him.
Totally.
Bergkamp must have been one of his idols. Surely you
see that video of where Bergkamp and Emil Smith Rowe meet?
Yeah,
in a tunnel. I loved it. I totally get it. Maybe we should have retired the 14, and maybe we should have retired the 10.
See, I don't believe in retiring shirts. So West Ham retired their number 6 shirt for when Bobby Moore died.
That makes sense to me.
But I like the fact
that makes sense to me.
I like the fact there be another player to be able to fill it, to be iconic, to fill his boots. You have to.
You know what? This on the Gooner,
and then you've got to reinstate that shirt.
I love listening to. I listen to it at work. I listen to on Spotify. I listen to Gooner Talk with Tom Canton, and he had a question today, or it might have been yesterday's show. I was listening today, and the guy said, how do you feel about? I'm a little bit OCD about Declan Rice having the 41. I like them to have, and Tom Canton, and I agree with him, but it's more complicated. He goes, I just don't care. I think the subject we're talking about the 14 Freddie, I do care to some degree. But on the one hand, if you retire a shirt, then you can't have 7 be Liam Brady, Rocky Rocas, or Saka. I want that lineage of a shirt number, so I don't want it retired.
Yeah.
But on another level, I mean, who the hell is ever going to wear a 14 shirt at Arsenal and do it the same justice? I mean, can you imagine a player coming along in our lifetimes from now on that's going to be better than Thierry Henry?
No, I can't. But that Thierry Henry made that shirt iconic for Arsenal.
Yeah. And it's easy to do that with a 14, because when I was a kid, there wasn't a 14.
No,
do you know what I mean?
It was 1 to 11.
Always a sub.
It was 1 to 11, wasn't it? You paid for the shirt because it was all 4-4-2 basically.
Yeah.
I can remember, and you just played. 2 was right back.
But even this is how teams like Chelsea will never compete with Arsenal, right? Because even the numbering system, do you know the first team to wear numbers on their backs was?
Must be Arsenal. You're going to say
Arsenal.
Yeah.
And the numbering system was one because they played this in MW, so you had 2 and 3 were the fullbacks that played behind the next 3, and then it was 4, 5, 6. So and then 7, then all the rest would be forwards, but it was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
So that's even why we have the certain players. Why Anders Limpar was an 11. Why Mark Overmars was an 11. Why, so even that, there's a prestige, there's a history in Arsenal. I love all that. So on balance, I wouldn't retire any shirts. But when it comes to Bobby Moore, I do think there are just some players who deserve something a touch extra. I don't think that's the way to go generally, but I think there are instances where
the point I'm trying to make on that is that if you're playing for West Ham and you come through the academy, for example, and you're a centre half and you're fucking mustard and you get a big
contract, won the World Cup with England,
won the World Cup with England because of you're captain, and then all of a sudden they go to you, you know what? This guy warrants Bobby Moore's number.
Or I love what you're saying, but Lee, let me put it to you differently.
That'd make you feel like
what if Declan Rice? What if West Ham do really well, and they look like they're building a team that could even challenge for the title, and they've got a player like Declan Rice, and he says, "I'm only staying if you give me the 6."
Yeah, well, there you go. We'll
find out then, won't we? Because all this retiring a shirt goes out the window. I think.
Yeah, I reckon it would.
I think that there is a hidden message as well in clubs like West Ham. When you retire a shirt, it kind of says you're never going to get that big, because at Arsenal there is not a single player who's bigger than the shirt. There is not a single player. We've had the best player in the world in Henry. We've also had some of the legends of all time.
Yeah.
Pires. Yeah. We've had some of the biggest names in football, and if you go back to the 50s or the 30s, and even more so. And we've never retired a shirt, and we've always been a club that exists because it's bigger than all of the individual players. You know, there's never going to be a player that's bigger than Arsenal, and I think that's important. So I don't want to, but at the same time, Mason Mount, I don't really understand it because there's Cantona, Beckham, but Robson.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby Robson. I didn't mention him, but Bobby Robson's one.
Brian Robson.
Brian Robson. Yeah.
I'm always doing that. So so 7's a
Ronaldo.
Big deal. Yeah. So there's a big deal there, isn't there? Someone's taking a piss a bit, giving it to Mason Mount. I think you're right. I think he should have had to do a season and because he could be a hopeless flop. He could flop worse than his video yesterday. That was the funniest thing I've seen in years.
How long ago was that filmed?
It must have been 2 weeks ago because he's got. Do you know what I mean?
He's got blonde hair.
Yeah. Unless he's dyed his hair that day, he's really it's just he's had that in the drawer probably a season. And it makes me laugh because I watch Rory Jennings a lot. I think he's brilliant. I think he's really, but what makes me laugh is I really love listening to him. And I'm sure there'll be people, I hope that one day there'll be people who say this about me as well, because the one thing he gets his predictions terribly wrong. He's always going, Erling Haaland's never going to make it forward. But I do love listening to him. I do love his opinion. But he's so bent out of shape by Mason Mount, like Judas. But Rory Jennings said this thing about Chelsea DNA, and it's in our DNA. So you're acting like Chelsea's a club. They've been around for 20 years, Chelsea. The Chelsea before was not Chelsea, right? No. It's unrecognized. That Chelsea is unrecognizable from this one. That Chelsea would have bought Ashley Cole off us.
You could say the same thing about Man City as well.
Yeah. I do say the same thing about Man City.
Man City was in the second division, weren't they?
There's Man City that played. There's Man City that lost away to York. And then there's Man City who an Abu Dhabi oil baron bought, and he decided he was, that's it. We want the best manager in the world. We'll get him. We'll get his everything out Man City. They've done it the right way, because I'm fascinated by the story of PSG, and it's easy to get it wrong. I think PSG, just to quickly say, the signing of Luis Enrique yesterday, I think that was them doing it right for a change. At last, PSG are starting to get some. I mean, they're in a terrible situation because they've got Neymar and Mbappe.
Mbappe's holding them to ransom at the minute over this contract extension.
This is what happens. This is what happens when.
What was it? The extra year? Because otherwise, he can go for free.
And so they're in this. So they're screwed because okay, so they're saying to him, "You either extend or we're selling you," and he's going, "Go on then." First of all, name me one club in the world that can afford Mbappe on 150 million sign him for 150 million. One club in the world, because it's only one club in the world that could, and that's Real Madrid, and they don't want to. So if there's no competition for him, he ain't going to Saudi, and he has to agree wherever he goes. So they're screwed.
Yes,
screwed. So they're screwed. He's not going to go anywhere. They're going to end up. I mean, but that's the big issue. But what are you going to do about Neymar? Neymar's on silly money, and he's not playing well. You know, Messi's gone.
He's 31 there, isn't he? Neymar?
Yeah, Neymar's
I can't believe it. Because I see you say it earlier. I can't believe he's 31 already.
I know, it goes quick, doesn't it? Yeah, I remember he scored this beautiful goal for Brazil, and this must be 10 years ago when he was still a youngster. And I remember thinking, oh, he's special.
Yeah.
But, you know, you spend 220 million on a player, and then 180 million player. This is the trouble you get into. Paris Saint-Germain have got the best manager they could have, and I hope they give him longer than the average manager gets at PSG. But he's got his work cut out for him, no doubt. You know, it's not going to be easy for him. I think that if you looked at, you know, this comes back to what we were saying before. If you're looking into the future for Mbappe, it's hard for me to see how they're going to sell him. I don't know who would buy him. He's not going to Saudi. No one's got any money. There's no money.
Did you see it going around that Arsenal could be coming to Arsenal? But they were talking about next season for free. But Arsenal ain't going to pay him £1 million a week wages. I mean,
I hope they don't. Well, I hope they don't, because I don't think that that's good for the dressing room.
£1 million a week wages. That's £52 million.
Yeah, it's 850
over 4 years. It'd be like 200 million just on wages.
Well, that's what Real Madrid are going to do. That's why they're saying if we spend 150 million on him now, then that takes that deal to 350 million. Yeah. If we wait a year, but that's what they're paying Erling Haaland at Man City.
They're paying him 900, or was it 850 or 900?
Who knows? Like Who knows? Because they're very crafty. You know,
there's another player. Talking about Erling Haaland, he started at RB Salzburg. Was it?
No, he didn't start there. He was, I think, Mulder. But yeah, listen, I'm from a small town in Austria that's an hour's drive from Salzburg.
There's a player. I can't remember who's off. I can't remember his name.
Israeli. Gluck.
Yeah. Yes, the was Arsenal.
Yeah, he played against England last night.
In the under-21s, yeah.
Listen, if you go back through if you go through Red Bull Salzburg's teams of the past, and you start, they are an amazing club for development because they're owned by RB Leipzig. So there's that interplay between the German and the Austrian league. Gluck is a player that is very highly sought after. The problem is, and listen, I don't want to wee on anyone's parade, all right? But I mean, the one that's just gone, Arda Güler, who we were apparently in for the next Mesut Ozil, that's gone from Fenerbahce to Real Madrid, which was a stunning bit of business by them, frankly. Because I thought Barcelona were going to get him all day. They would put all the effort into getting him and didn't get him. And he's gone for like 16 million. So that's a great signing. There are these players around. Xavi Simons, he's another one. There are players out. Huh?
Too many from Real Madrid.
This one makes me laugh a lot because there's one many rumors about him. What cracks me up about it is Real Madrid said they didn't want to sell him. He's been at Real Madrid for a year. He said he doesn't want to leave Real Madrid. Where do these rumors come from? Like, if we could get Aurelien Tchouameni from Real Madrid, he's a great signing. But would you want him if he doesn't want to play for Arsenal? And would you want him if Real Madrid don't want to sell him? Because you have to pay through the nose. They spent 60 something million. They spent, actually, I think it was north of 65 million on him. And he hasn't played badly. He hasn't had the first season that he could have had, but he hasn't played badly. There are rumors, and then there's just silliness, right? There are some really good rumors out there about players that we're interested in that I think there's a lot of credibility that I think we've put Cancelo on the back burner.
Yeah.
I think we were interested. We were obviously interested in Mason Mount, definitely. There are rumors, and then there are rumors. The Tchouaméni one, it came up a couple of days ago. I did a video on it because it was like there's no real sources. There's no one really that believes he's coming to Arsenal.
The difference, see with Real Madrid, which I admire, right? They've signed this Tchouaméni. I've not seen him play, right? So, but I've heard
because if you watched England play France, he was playing in that game.
He's
decent.
He's decent. I've not realised it.
No, he's decent.
And they've signed Bellingham, but they've also give Modric an extension.
No, hold on. Modric that's a big rumor going around at the moment. He has got the extension, but he could still be on his way to Saudi. There's a strong.
I thought he was staying, and Tony Cruz is staying as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk that. Listen, it depends which sources you believe. I think, like all of these rumors, you process it and you think, does this make sense to me? Luka Modric doesn't really make sense to me at Real Madrid. They're doing a rebuild.
No way it makes sense to me because they've got Bellingham, right? He's going to be the attacking side. And they've got this Tchouaméni, the defensive midfielder. They've got that, and the backup would be Modric and Cruz.
No, look, I think it depends.
This is what I'm thinking.
Listen, the way Real Madrid and Barcelona, I mean, they can afford to feel. There are games they play. And this is something that comes back to conversations we've had and discussions we've had where people go, if you bring in a player like Frimpong. So, for example, now we've been linked with Frimpong and everyone's going, again.
Another fullback. He's another fullback.
No, he's not coming in as a fullback. He's coming in as a right winger, right?
Wow.
It's all right to say he's a fullback. It depends on how he's played. He gets forward. That's what he does really well. So you sign him because you've got to have someone in case Saka doesn't play well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Havertz and Odegaard and Rice are a brilliant midfield for us. And I'm not sure that is going to be how it is because I said earlier about Ben White might be a midfielder. But let's just use that as one hypothesis. They're a brilliant midfield, and now Saka gets injured or can't play a game. Well, you don't want to play him for a particular game. What are you going to do? Change your midfield to move Kai Havertz out to the right, or are you going to change Jesus to the right wing? If you've got someone like Frimpong, he could come in and play. He can play as Saka, trust me. Not as well, because Saka's the best in the world at what he does. But this idea that Frimpong is a right back is a little bit misguided. Look how many assists he's got. His heat map doesn't look like a fullback. One of the first things I would suggest.
I haven't seen his heat map. Is it all like up on the right wing? Is it? It's all up.
It looks like if you compare it, if you laid it over, obviously Saka plays slightly differently. But if you laid it, I'll tell you what, Moussa Diaby's heat map and Frimpong, it's not that wildly different. If Diaby's playing on the right, I just think we need to. The biggest revolution in footballs that have happened, the total football under Ajax, right, was that actually stop thinking of an Ajax player as being a right this, a left that, a fullback, a wing. No, they're a footballer. They understand the system, they play the system, and they can interchange. And that's what causes nightmares. That's what causes teams. This season, you saw that last season, you saw that with Arsenal, because it's very difficult to, when Jesus and Martinelli are playing with each other, which one's the winger, which one's the centre forward, right? They swap around like crazy. Now, Granit Xhaka, who's a holding midfielder, suddenly he becomes a box-to-box midfielder. And you've got Zinchenko on the left-hand side, keeping it all on the left, who suddenly inverts, and he's playing in the middle of the park. So each of these players plays in multiple positions. He's gone out and signed Kai Havertz, plays in multiple positions. He's gone out and signed Declan Rice, who started as a centre-back, is now a holding midfielder and is supposed to be good at box-to-box. He signed Jurriën Timber, who's a right-back, but he's signed him as a right back, but he can play centre back. And Julian Timber bombs on and goes down the right hand side. So I think we've got to stop looking at Frimpong as a right back and start thinking like Arteta and going, what is Frimpong good at? He's good for pace. He's good for technique. He's good at progressing the ball. He's good at moving forward. And I think that he would make it. Look, Saka, when he started playing, was a left wing back, right? He was a left back.
No, I remember him playing behind Martinelli.
Yeah.
And I think they done gelled well on that left hand side.
I'm missing out a push. I think we could go back to Saka.
But there's that word that there's a buzzword about Arsenal at the moment. The buzzword is, I done a video on it, versatility.
Yeah.
They like the versatile. Arteta likes the versatile players, jack of all trades, if you like. But also they've got to be a master of one. You know, you've got to have.
That's great. But if you look at Xavi Simons, who's a player that I hope that we have a chance of signing, I think with Luis Enrique going to PSG, there's a better chance he'll go back to PSG. They have got that.
I heard he didn't want to go back there, did he? He
didn't want to go. No, he was at PSV and he was doing really well under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Then they sacked Ruud van Nistelrooy and they said to him, would he extend? And he said, well, I don't even know who the manager's going to be yet. And they said, well, PSG have an option on you for only 6 million. Would you go there? And he goes, well, I don't know who the manager there is either. So he's a bit of a cheeky git, but I love him for that. His ego might be the reason he isn't an Arteta type player, but he's from La Masia. So he's from the Barcelona system and he's played in PSV and he can play left, right, central, attack. The idea of a
Trossard's the same.
Yeah. What's Trossard's best position?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I really don't. He can play
master of none is one way of looking at it. What's Gabriel Jesus' best position? Because I don't think he's an out-and-out 9.
He's not a 9. I don't think
and I think that for all the people worried that we don't have... Listen, Vlahovic has come up again as a rumour. I'm not convinced by Vlahovic. I'm happy to be wrong. If we sign Vlahovic, then, look, we've got to lose Nketiah or Balogun. I wanted to pull you up on that. Because I can't remember, was in one of your videos where you talked about should we keep Balogun?
Yes, I want to keep Balogun,
and I think that's the wrong language, right? Because this isn't about whether you keep. No one at Arsenal's gone. We don't want Balogun.
No,
Arteta's a big fan. So
I'm hearing a lot of rumours that he wants to leave because he wants to be guaranteed. He himself said he wants to be guaranteed minutes.
So it's not a question of keep or not keep. It's a question if you can't keep a player on his last year, if he doesn't want to stay, he'll go for free next year.
Yeah, I get that.
We can't keep. Yeah. We have no say in whether Balogun stays or not. I reckon if I'm right, and I hope I am, you might see Balogun stay because Arteta could sit down with him and go, look how many minutes you got in France. So you got nearly 2,500 minutes in France you played. I can't necessarily promise you 2,500 minutes, but we've got a lot of games coming up. What if I said to you, we'll do what Man City do? Because no Man City player I can think of, I think Grealish had the most minutes in a City shirt, but most City players, whether they're Rodri or Gundogan or Nathan Ake, Kyle Walker, they get about 2,000 minutes, which means they're not injured, they're fresh, they're always ready in rotation.
Yeah.
So if Arteta sat down with Balogun and goes, look, I know you want minutes. What if I promise you that before January, I'll give you 200, 300 minutes, 500 minutes, because you will play? Because I think as an Arsenal team, I would start with Balogun instead of Jesus some games and just go, if we can't go out and beat X, I'm trying to think off the top of my head because there's no easy games in the Premier League. But look, be honest.
Well, we've got Nottingham Forest, the first game of the season.
Yeah, and look what they did to us last season.
Yeah, they beat us. They beat us to secure their status in the league, didn't they?
I know. Chuffed.
So a bit of revenge there, a bit of revenge.
Yeah, and it's home. So for a first time in ages, we're at home. I can't remember last time we played home first game of the season. So look, we'll batter them. But that's a game where I would say, look, Jesus, you're going to have a long season. You're on the bench.
Sit down.
Balogun starts.
Perfect game for him to start. Perfect game.
I 100% agree. And I think that, but you could extend that logic to also saying to people like Saka, look, do you need to play every game?
No,
do you need to play every game? Look, let's put out a team that, let's not talk about a weakened team or a first 11, a second 11. Let's talk about our squad. It's 22 outfield players and 3 keepers, right? And you're all going to get minutes. Like, we're going to see more Nelson and Emil Smith-Rowe this season. We're going to see Vieira. I'm not sure I want to, but we're going to see these players. And I would say line up against Nottingham Forest. Let's not mess around with a back four too much, because that's where you want stability. Let's go Saliba, Gabriel, you play when you're fit. Zinchenko, and I think it'll be Ben White still, but could well be Timber. You're our back four. You play when you're fit. And now midfield, Odegaard, your captain, you're in. Declan Rice, of course, you're going to play every game. But we're going to try Kai Havertz for this game, or Emil Smith-Rowe, just to take a bit of pressure off the new side. So that's that portion of the team. We go Balogun up front, Martinelli on the left, or Nelson. Go, look, you've got a new contract. You wanted minutes. This is the game where you come, and you've got a bench that looks like it could do some damage. And you've
Nelson,
got
prove yourself. Make an impression. Go out there and show me what you're made of, like you did when you come on against Bournemouth and scored the screamer.
Yeah, I just think we've all bought into that goal a bit too much.
We have, but he did. You know.
Do you know who he reminds me of? This is one for the older fans, right? Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
Nelson reminds me of Michael Thomas. You know why? Because he's casual. He's great under pressure. He doesn't let the pressure get to him, but he does things at his own pace.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes that will drive you mad if you're chasing a game. You know, it's like you want players who have a little bit of energy or enthuse, or you want a bit of headless chickenism around them sometimes. You want them to be like desperate, you know, like Martinelli can be desperate. And I think with Nelson, you're never getting that. I don't know. I think Nelson, he's made a mistake in staying.
He's never going to be forgotten, is he, Michael Thomas?
No. He's in folklore. I mean, you get away with putting a statue of him out there, and you know, that moment is without question for people our age and a bit older.
You can't see. I still get goosebumps now.
That's what made me laugh about when Jared Bowen was through on goal in the conference final, and the commentator went, "It's up for grabs now," and he's like, "No, it's not. Shut up. What are you on about? It's the conference. It's not the Premier League. It's not the first division at Anfield." No, there are moments that are bigger than players, and that Nelson moment, unfortunately, is a season we'll all remember fondly, but it's not a season to remember fondly. You know, it's a season where reignited the passion in the fans. It was a brilliant season, but we have to do a bit better than scoring a late winner against, Bournemouth. We have
to. His left foot, though. Great goal.
Listen, it's a great goal. It is a great goal, and I love it when an Arsenal player comes through the youth ranks. I'm sorry to see Charlie Patino go. I'm always sorry when a player goes.
Ethan Imanieri, he's committed.
I think, mate, that is so. Edu Gaspar, it just blows my mind. Where's he put a foot wrong this summer? He signed all the players we wanted onto long-term contracts. He's gone and got 3 players in the transfer window. Listen, Kai Havertz, you and I, we both know where we stand on this. I'm waiting to be proven wrong, but my gut feel was, what the hell have we signed him for? Over the last couple of weeks, I've come around to it. I've watched a lot more of these, tactically.
Population.
Yeah, I've watched. It's not even that. I've watched a lot of these, like the different knock. I really like him, and he explains, and Tifo, where they go through. This is why you've signed Kai Havertz, and look how great he is. And I drink the Kool-Aid, and I'm like, oh, he's going to be amazing. All I know is I watched him for 3 years at Chelsea and barely noticed him. So maybe he was out of position. Maybe the team.
I've done that video, didn't I? Yeah. I said, was I worried about him when he was on the other side, when he's on the other team, when we played Chelsea and Kai Havertz on the team? Was I worried? No, I wasn't worried.
I didn't even notice him, to be honest with you. He was. I know that I was a bit like, oh, they signed a wonder kid from Germany when he went there, but I've seen nothing. I preferred Pulisic, and he's been a terrible flop as well. But like when we played,
Lampard signed him, didn't he?
Havertz, yeah.
Havertz and Timo Werner at the same time, wasn't it? The same window.
Same window, I think.
Yeah.
Look. Well, if Lampard signed him, he must be a flop. So maybe we should send him back. It would be annoying. I think we were all in that kind of Rice-Ado. If we could just sign Caicedo and Rice, we'd be happy. And then the problem was, of course, this now feels like we've given Chelsea money so they can go and buy Caicedo, and Caicedo would be a good player for us. Honestly, I think we backed out of Caicedo because I think Arteta didn't like him. I think, he's met him, talked to him, and gone, I'm not convinced.
His attitude might have not been right, as you said before.
It's not, is it? You can't be going in you can't go in the press go, I've always wanted to play for Man United, then go and sign for Chelsea and expect to get a good result. It's just nonsense, isn't it? It's like the modern footballer wants to do a Declan Rice and keep his mouth shut whenever possible.
Yeah. It's like Paul Ince putting on the West Ham shirt when he was still Man United shirt when he was still at West Ham.
Yeah.
They Judas. They never let him forget that, did they?
What about when Koscielny ripped off his Arsenal shirt and had the board? What was it? Where did he go? I can't remember where he went now. Girardin Bordeaux, I think, or where did he went? Koscielny went to the French league.
To plug in the Chromebook thing.
Yeah,
the battery was just dying.
No, I mean every club's got one where they think, oh, you've just been a dickhead now. Do you know what I mean? Like, what'd you do that for? Where we've had our own players who've let us down in that respect, but I think with Kai Havertz, I'm coming round to it. He's obviously got quality.
Well, it's done now. There's no work. We can't change it. We can't dwell on it. All we've got to do is just support it, and let's see how we go. Pre-season starts in a week or a week and a half or something, isn't it?
Nuremberg, it's like a week away.
A week away, yeah. Saturday. I can't wait for that game. I can't wait for football to come back.
Listen, the Nuremberg game's going to be a bit weird because I
don't give a shit where it's like. I can't wait.
I know, but he's probably going to play Pepe or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be players you're never going to see. Oh, Cedric. I think he's playing in it.
Oh, Cedric. There's another player that we've still got. Another fullback, right back. I've done a video on that. How many right backs are we in for, or do we need?
Well, that's what I said to you. That's why I bring up Frimpong, because everyone's giving it, Frimpong's a right back. I'm like, he probably isn't signing him as a right back. Honestly.
Maybe. Well, let's see what goes on with that. Do you think we need a striker, or do you think?
Well, it comes back to what we were just talking about. In the perfect world, I would go, do you know what? Instead of going out and spending 50 million on Vlahovic and finding out he's not as good as you hoped he would be and that he doesn't fit the Premier League and blah, 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 let's take a 30 million quid hit on Balogun. Let's go. I know you want to go. You go when we say so. You're playing a season with us, and I'm going to play. I'm going to give you some minutes, and if you flop, you flop, and then we just instead of us, and it's a cheap way to.
I think that's a great way of looking at it.
I would go. Look, Balogun is staying. We're going to give you some minutes, and I can't think of a player out there that excites me more than it would excite me to see Balogun play. Because if you said to me, if I could pick throughout history. If you said to me attackers throughout history, let's get another Thierry Henry in or a Nicola Anelka, but they're not out there. I don't want Victor Osimhen. I definitely don't want Harry Kane. Who do you Vlahovic? It keeps coming up. The same rumor keeps coming up because there's no number 9s out there.
I don't think Vlahovic. But in that January when we bid for him, and he turned to stand for Juventus. I don't think Arteta's going to go back for a player that refused to come.
Listen, there is something to. He's great for Fiorentina. He's a goal every 2 games for them.
Yeah.
He went to Juventus. No, I know Juventus have had a horrible season, points deductions, and it hasn't gone well. And he's done all right. I think he scored 19 goals. He's not done 17 goals. He's not done badly. But am I excited by him? No. Do I think he's better than Gabby Jesus? Maybe. Do we play the way that?
Different, isn't he? He's a different player. Like he's taller.
He's more of a number 9. He's more of a centre forward. He's more of what you'd expect from a big.
But we've got that already, as I said before. You just hit the nail on the head. Take the 30 million hit on Balogun because I want to keep him.
Because look at it this way. Worst case scenario. Here's the possible outcomes. You get Balogun. The season doesn't start that well. You can't give him the minutes. It gets to January, you flog him for 10 or 15 million, right? Yeah. And then you've lost 15 million. Or you do get to play him in games like Forest and Brentford and games that you win with him up front. He starts banging them in. He sits down with Arteta. Arteta says, look, you're one of us. You're a centre forward for the United States national men's team, and you want the highest profile you can have. You are at a club that is high profile in the United States and has a United States-based ownership. I think you do well here. Right? And then he probably goes, yeah, do you know what? I'll make you right. Give
Yeah.
us $100,000 a week and we'll sign a 4-year contract. Then you've kept Balogun and you've kept a player that's really good. And the other scenario is that he smashes it out of the park and leaves on a free, but we did everything we could.
Yeah.
You know, like I just don't see a lose here. And if there was a player out there that excited me as a centre forward, I can't think. Look, I tell you what's really flabbergasted me the other day, which is a word I don't get to use that often. Surprised myself with that one. But if I said to you, Harry Kane, you know, decides that he doesn't want to play international football anymore, who do you play up front for England?
Who's you play up front for England? There ain't no out and out number 9s I can think of on the top of me. Ivan Toney.
Now, would you want Ivan Toney for Arsenal?
Well,
Because
yeah.
I definitely don't. I don't
want
him any.
I advocated for him last summer.
Nah, well, you and I
the
can have a
reason
long...
why I wouldn't have him now is because he's suspended until January.
Doesn't even matter to me. If they said, "Oh, he can," you know, no, I don't rate him that highly.
No?
There's Ollie Watkins, he's decent. But what my point is, where are these? Everyone, it's really easy to type in. If I typed it in now, attacker. Like if I did a poll on my channel, said, you know, do you think Arsenal should sign an attacker? Everyone will go, yeah. But when you actually go, well, who do you want? They haven't got a clue who.
I've done a poll on my channel about what would you go with? I can't remember exactly what it was saying about. It was keep Balogun, sign new striker, or something. I can't remember exactly what the poll was now, but hang on, wait there. I'll tell you what it was. Let me have a look. It was the last poll. Community. Right, I've done one about Ivan Toney as well. Would you take a chance on Ivan Toney, even though he can't play or train until January?
I think I voted on this
67%.
I voted on that one. I'm sure I voted on that one. I can't believe you would even think it.
He's worth it or no, too risky.
I'd take Callum Wilson maybe. But listen.
One second. Should Arsenal sign a striker or go with Nketiah or Balogun? That's what I put in the poll.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 38 votes on that. It's not really bundles, but 50% of the vote was sign new striker. 42% was go with Balogun, and the other 8% was go with Eddie.
Lee, I agree. Listen, but that's my point. If I go to an Arsenal fan now, would you sign a striker? They'll say yes. And then if you go, well, which one? No one's got a clue who to say.
No, there's not anybody, is there?
You're not going
to get a Haaland or an Mbappe or anyone.
Why not? Let's get Mbappe. Look, if the question is sign Mbappe, let's say money's. I'm not even thinking of the long-term future of the club or wages or anything like that. Would you sign Mbappe or keep Flo Balogun? I go, are you on drugs? Of course I go for Mbappe.
Best player in the world, Mbappe.
He's 24 years old and he's unreal. He's unplayable.
Yeah,
right?
He's going to win the Ballon d'Or, you know.
What do you think?
Yeah,
well, not this year. Not this year.
Mbappe will.
Oh, I believe he will. Listen, I never. To be honest with you, all of that goes right over my head. I don't know who's won it, but look, if we can we're not getting Mbappe, we're not getting Haaland, we're not signing Kane, and frankly, I actually think Kane is bobbins. I don't rate him. He's a crap player. He can piss off. I wouldn't have him. He wouldn't even be on my bench, right? So, like. For me, I'm running out of ideas. It comes down to Vlahovic and Osimhen. Osimhen, they want silly money for. Vlahovic, they want silly money for. Vlahovic is not the answer. I could be wrong. I mean, who've checked Romelu Lukaku? Do you want to do 100 million on Romelu Lukaku? I don't.
Mitrovic is my man.
Yeah, no, I don't get it. I don't get it. You and I agree on a lot, right? There's a lot. It's probably, I like how big and strong he is, and he's similar build to Lukaku. I think he's a similar kind of player, but I think he's better. Mate, I could find you a doorman at a local pub that's a similar build to Lukaku. It doesn't mean I want him.
I know, but he's more deadly finisher, isn't he? He's got
Lukaku.
No, Mitrovic.
He's not. I don't think he's a deadly finisher.
I think he is. I do. I rate him.
How many goals? All right, how many goals did he score last season then?
He's at Fulham. He's not got the. He's got to have the circle.
Oh, mate, we could do this all day. Like he's at Fulham.
If he was at City, If he was at Liverpool, if he was at Arsenal, he'd get 5 goals.
Okay, but I don't agree. I don't rate him. And listen, I love him at Fulham. I think, you know, there's players who do really listen. I'm not trying to be horrible about people, but for me, big chances missed is a big statistic, and he wasn't pulling in the numbers that you would expect from an Arsenal forward. And it's worth saying, look, I'm not just thinking of Mitrovic in one season. There's a Mitrovic in the Championship, which everyone was like, oh, he's on fire, but will he be able to do this in the Premier League? And then, to be fair, he did really well in the Premier League. Oh no, I see now. I can't speak with any. I don't know that much about Mitrovic. I only know him from like last season, really, and the Championship. But for me, yeah, I think he's in the box. How many goals? He's 14 goals in a season. All right.
For Fulham,
I bet I'd do a little bet. Yeah, I'd do, yeah, all right. But Fulham were top half of the table. They weren't, you know, like. I know. Right, I mean, okay. I mean, listen. There are players of Fulham that I would go for. I think Fulham are cracking me up at the moment. You've seen what they asked for Paulinho. He's wanted like 90 million for him. I can't wait for West Ham to try and spend this money they're getting off us. And everyone goes, well, if Declan Rice is worth 105 million and our player's got to be worth 80, and oh shit.
No, they're probably up for about 50 for him, I reckon, if they go for him.
I think 30 is fair.
Well, that's Reece Nelson. He's just playing Reece Nelson's goal. I'll just put the Sky Sports News on. We were just speaking about it. They just
it's because he signed that.
He signed a new contract. Yeah, 100. I don't know why I keep saying 100 grand a week. I don't know. Don't know why I keep thinking that. I might have seen it somewhere. I'm not sure.
Probably. I thought 60, but I can't tell you why I thought that. I think that's maybe.
I'm not sure myself. There's one more thing we need to speak about, just briefly before we say goodnight. Steve Rand. Steve Rand has left the club by mutual consent.
Santi Cazorla.
And there's rumours that Santi Cazorla is going to come back.
Listen, we've got to bring Santi Cazorla back. He's got to come back. This is a guy who nearly lost his foot playing for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want Santi. How
long was he out for? About 8 months, wasn't he? Was he out for about 8 months with that injury?
About 2 years. He had an injury. He had an operation. Then the operation went gangrenous and septic. And he nearly lost his foot, and they had to do skin grafts he had a tattoo of his daughter's name on his arm, and that's now on his foot. This is a guy who, like, you know, when you love watching Arsenal and you think of, like, not the Georgie Graham period, but there's always been players, right? Whether it's Liam Brady, who's before our time, or Rocky Rocastle, who's just perfect, like, or Merson. There are players who they move with the ball. That's why I love Emil Smith-Rowe. They just glide around the pitch like they are just the most amazing players to watch. Nobody is a better example of that than Santi Cazorla. I don't know what foot his best foot is. There's a really great story of David Dean when he was new in the Arsenal board, and he was there with Peter Hill-Wood, and they were watching Charlie Nicholas, and he was playing, and he was moving a football from left to right foot, and David Dean turned around to Peter Hill-Wood and said, "What's his best foot?" And Peter Hill-Wood just went, "We paid for both of them." And I just think, like, I think the beautiful thing about Santi is I cannot tell you what foot he is. I can't tell you. Is he right-footed, left-footed? Doesn't matter. That guy is just, he plays football with a smile on his face. He
never stopped. That's something I noticed about him as well. He never stopped smiling.
Just a beautiful.
What a character!
That's what football is. Not just a game. There's art. There's certain players that turn it into an art form. Dennis Bergkamp, Johan Cruyff,
Paul
Messi, Gaza, people, Waddle on his day. They were players. Glenn Hoddle. God, I've just done 2 Tottenham players in a row.
Ginola.
Ginola. Do you remember when Lee Dixon had him on toast when we played Paris Saint-Germain?
Yeah. Because he's worth it.
No, I mean, like Zola at Chelsea. You know,
Yeah.
much as I don't like Chelsea, you've got to love Gianfranco Zola.
Oh, Zola,
Santi
Cantona.
Cazorla was our Zola.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he deserves to come back to Arsenal, and he deserves to walk up and down the Holloway Road with people throwing rose petals in front of him, you know, and he can walk into any pub in the Holloway Road or surrounding area, and he'll never buy a drink again, that man. And he's one of my heroes. And it's interesting because, you know, I said to you before, like Tom Canton did this thing about who is the player from the Emirates era, which has not been a good era up till now, right? Who's the player from the Emirates era who deserves the most love? And it's either Aaron Ramsey or it's Santi Cazorla. It's one of them.
Santi Cazorla by a mile. I know Ramsey scored them FA Cup goals, winning us the FA Cup 2 years running.
Yeah, no, he's brilliant. I love him. But Santi Cazorla, if you put together a best ever 11, I don't think Santi Cazorla gets into it because there's just so much competition. But it depends on the era.
For in the Emirates era,
he gets into the Emirates era, definitely.
Yeah, of course he does, and just a player that loves the club. You can tell by the way I'm not
sure, not sure, because there was this really interesting interview I saw read that he'd done where he goes, I don't know why the Arsenal players love me so, or why the Arsenal fans love me so much. I did the same thing there. He's a Villarreal. He's got clubs.
Now you spoiled my. I thought every time I see him play, his smile was like from ear to ear. He always waved at the fans after the game.
Mate, he is an absolute out and out 100. All right, I tell you what, if you did a poll, we'll maybe both do polls. Nobody ever, if you said, do you like Santi Cazorla or do you dislike him? That's one vote you can do forever. No one will ever click. Accidentally, they might click don't like him. I've never met anyone who doesn't love Santi Cazorla. If you meet someone who doesn't love Santi Cazorla, they're probably watching rugby.
I'll do one on the channel after this. Do one on yours as well. We'll do.
We'll see if anyone. I want to have a conversation live with anyone who's donut enough to go Santi Cazorla is not a legend. Anyone who's got their mind so badly wrong on this one, I'll have a conversation. Like Cluffy said, he goes, we'll talk about it and then they'll agree that I was right.
This is young Dan. This is your namesake. This is another Dan. He's Tex Edits channel. He's a young boy. He was watching the boxing stream we done last night. And because obviously I've told you I've stopped smoking. I had some lollipops. I was sucking. I ain't got no lollipops left. I was sucking lollipops like Kojak, and I was dipping them in Nutella. So this is what
you want to slow down on that one. You're gonna,
Oh no, my belly's massive. Oh no.
Yeah, I've got a
big beer belly anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for coming.
That's where my life savings are, mate.
Yeah, cost you a fortune.
Yeah.
Okay,
hello to Tex.
Yes, so we're going to do that. I'm going to put that poll on, actually, as we're speaking, right? As we're speaking. Oh, I've just got a like. Hang on, what was that? Oh, someone liked my comment I put on the football terrace. I put on there. Did you watch that?
I don't like it.
Did you watch that? Because there's a Dan the Gooner that super chats him.
No, I don't. No.
That's not you, no?
No. Listen, it's one of them things, and I'm sure that I get this. People get this when they watch me as well. There are just sometimes you watch someone for a while and then they start to wind you up, and it's not his fault. It's my fault. It's like, it's not him. It's me. But he's just started to get on my tits.
Oh, Terry.
It's that fake laugh. It's that like, it's just like just relax yourself. Like, it's a bit too. My feeling on it was he should take a bit more of a break. He's on all the bloody time. He's on like, I don't know if he
3 or 4 times a day, isn't he?
Yeah, and he has great people on there. I tell you who's brilliant. I don't know if you know her, but she knows Arsenal.
Jess, that's his missus.
Right, she's world class. She's amazing. She is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, he's punched well above his
Santi Cazorla and Arsenal legends, I'm going to put.
Yeah. Do you like Santi Cazorla, or B, don't you like Santi Cazorla? I want to meet. I want to meet the absolute nut job that would put.
All right, so I'm going to put
everyone
that.
loves Santi Cazorla.
Hang on, I've got to change the question. Wait a minute. Oh, I can't spell tonight. Do you like Santi Cazorla? Option yes. Option no.
Mate, that's the most leave your. We should have a helpline they can get in touch with if they're that desperate for, he's just immense.
So I put if no, why?
Yeah, if no, seek help.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful footballer. If you don't like him, I mean, not just for Arsenal, but I mean for Spain. Look at the Spanish team. He got how many caps has he got for Spain? And not just Spain, but Spain when they were the most incredible team in the world. Like he's got, not quite. I don't think it's 100. Yeah, it will piss me off. It will piss me off. It will piss me off if you put no, I don't like Santi Cazorla. Just do it for that. Absolutely. I'll have steam coming out my ears. I'll be like, what has a player got to do to get universally loved? Who's he ever wound up? Do you know what I mean? He's just a beautiful.
Oh, he just wound me up because you said he didn't love Arsenal. He loves Villarreal more.
I said, no, yeah, well, he does.
Yeah, I've got the help with him. Now I'm going to click no on my own poll.
Well, you need help. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But you know what? That's the kind of magic of that human being. He's just sometimes football's transcendent. Sometimes this is why I love Declan Rice. All right, Declan Rice for me because of him as a man. He's 24 years old. I'm twice his age, and I think he has character. There's something about West Ham. They do produce that part of London. Do you know what I really love? I saw a short on YouTube where someone had bought their dad a ticket for, I think it was the Conference League. And it was something about West Ham where it's a family team, where you've got mums and dads, and it goes through the family. There's that story of Mark Noble. I think it was Mark Noble where he was an apprentice somewhere else, and I might be completely getting the wrong player, but we're West Ham in this family. We're West Ham. Ray Parlour's dad wouldn't speak to him when he scored against West Ham. There's just something about West Ham which is more than just football. Yeah. But he's the captain of that team, along with, like we were saying earlier, would you retire the shirt? There are some players that are just Bobby Moore. Tex, have you just voted I hate Santi Cazorla?
No, he's put no.
Has he?
Vote on it. He's put no.
Right, well, now you will forever be the wrongest of the wrong. Right, that is.
Him. There was something I was going to say, and I forgot what I was going to say now. What was it?
Well,
there was something I was going to say.
Santi Cazorla is going to be the next assistant manager, and
Santi Cazorla, hopefully, touch wood. Where's wood?
It is a bit weird that Steve Round, because the way that Edu announced it to everyone, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
obviously,
he's gone, no, you're not really barred. Tex, you're not really barred. We're just having a bit of banter. Oh yeah,
you're not even barred from my channel because I'll reach out and offer you the help and support you need. I'm not the.
Go and have a look. Yeah, Tex. He's an Arsenal and stroke Barcelona fan. He's only a young boy, but he's.
Listen, Barcelona. Barcelona. Who isn't a Barcelona fan? I love Barcelona.
They're watching them play. Yeah, it's brilliant. Go and check out Tex. Go and have a look at Dan the Gooner's channel. It's called the Gooner channel.
You can't miss it. It's called the Gooner channel. I don't know how long I'm going to get away with that, by the way. I might have to change it to something else. But
that's a good name. It's a good name. There's a link in the description. Yeah, wicked.
Yeah, but the Gooner, do you mean you can't? This is the only problem I've got is if you put the Gooner into places, like you're not the Gooner, mate. We're all the Gooner. But I'm surfing that wave until it crashes, basically. And then it'll be like something else. I'll call it Santi Cazorla's the only player you have to love channel.
Yeah, be good. Okay. I think that's it, isn't it? There's no other news this week, Dan, is there?
No, I don't. I think we've done a very good job of covering it. I'm looking forward to the next week because next week, when is the Nuremberg game? Is it Saturday? Did you say?
It's not this Saturday, is it? It's next Saturday, I think.
No. I mean next Saturday. So there's this under 21s. So the final, Spain. Anyone who wants to see Vega play, Gabri Vega will be playing in the final. I'm sure. Emil Smith Rowe probably get on the bench again. I don't know what he's got to do to start a game. That lad. He came off on the 70th minute. Brilliant assist. But there isn't, next week it's all starting to kick off a little bit. Then we've got the USA, and then we've got the USA. I can't wait to be talking about actual football, and who knows, we might have signed someone by then as well.
Right, Tex has just put into the chat about the Declan Rice. If you go back to the start of this video, we opened up with the Declan Rice and what we thought of that. So go back, go rewatch this from the start, Tex. And you'll see, because we opened up with Declan Rice. That was like an hour and 40 minutes ago now. So, we're not going to go through it again because we don't want to bore people. We'll go back over the same subjects as we started.
No, because then we'd be the football terrorists.
Oh, yeah. He does do a lot of, that was a bit bitchy. Yeah, it does.
I know, I am a little bit.
Quite a bit, doesn't he? But, he does get a lot of content. He's got a big channel, and he's not only.
Listen. I all joking aside, of course, I watch him. It's not my first. He's not my go-to. I like Charlie Watts. I like Tom Canton. I like guys like that. I love different knock. I love the Cannon. I like getting difference. I like getting difference of opinions. And I'll turn it off when Lee Gunner's on there now. I used to turn it off when Igal. You know Igal? Have you heard of him? Yeah.
No football. I can't stand him either. He drives
me. I give him. Yeah, he
drives me insane. He's like
she knows Arsenal. She knows Arsenal. I've been a fan. To be honest with you, I wish I had more time to watch more. But we're only small channels. We have to do all our own content and editing and everything, and I have to get to bed before an early start. But love to all the Arsenal fans and all the people who produce content, because I think we know how hard it is to come up with stuff every day. So whether you're my cup of tea or not, I have nothing but love and respect, particularly for people like Terry Hughes who've done so well at it. He's an inspiration.
He's not biased either, to be fair.
I think he's because his missus is a Gooner. I think he's
well, that might be it, because he has been very complimentary all season to Arsenal.
Really great. Yeah, I mean, he has been. Look, he's one of the ones that inspired me to start my own channel. So, all joking aside, I have got love for him. But it's just, like I said to you earlier, people will watch me and they'll like me for about 10 minutes and then they'll go, I can't stand him anymore. There's that period where you just see too much of someone. And I think I've watched too much of him, and now I find it a little bit, it's a bit too grabbing the
it's a bit clickbaity, isn't it?
Yes, that's it. It really is. It's like, and I don't need that. Like we're all on news now, and we're all on BBC News. And we're all watching for every update. I don't need someone else doing it. Although my titles, I try and get them clickbaity as well. So I'm a hypocrite.
Very hypocritical, both of us.
I'm jealous.
We do want people to click on our thumbnails or our titles. I put a lot of work into mine sometimes, and I don't get anywhere near the views that some of these channels get. And Arsenal as well were the biggest. I think are the biggest, got the most channels. Arsenal fans.
Yeah, well, someone asked Tom Canton in I love the Gooner talk. But like someone asked him, who would you rate? And he goes, listen, don't ask me that question. Top 5 Arsenal casts, because there's Deluded Gooner, he's wicked. There's Charlie Watts, he's wicked. You can go through it. AFTV have got James, I think he's brilliant, and the other guy does Tactical Show with, and then there's Lee Judges. Mate, there's so many that I like. Lee Judges.
He's one of the ones on AFTV that I do like. Lee Judges.
I love him, but he's there every now and again. He loses his shit a bit early.
Don't like White. I'm not really a fan of White Yardie.
He come out of nowhere for me. I didn't know who the hell he was.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's all right and everything, but I'm not really a fan of him.
You like Curtis as well, don't you?
I like Curtis Shaw. I think he's all right. Yeah.
I like Babs 14. I think the different knock, I think, is brilliant.
Different knock. We haven't seen that one.
Oh, mate, you'd love it. It really goes deep into the tactics, because I don't know tactics at all.
Do you know Graham Brooks?
Yeah, that does the
Does it
AFTV
with
stuff.
James, the
Yeah,
technical insight show.
he's brilliant. I
Graham
mean,
Woods is
watching.
brilliant.
I love.
He follows me on Twitter.
Oh, really? Well, I think
Yeah,
he's brilliant. I think he's
he follows
brilliant.
me on
Lots
Twitter.
of love. I mean, I watched that. I haven't watched it recently, but it's great to watch him and James together. I think James is brilliant.
Yeah, it's very good, very insightful.
I like
for a young man.
Gunner Blog, James McNicholas. I like Arseweb. Mate,
What was that one
have
you said? The different knock. Is that an
Different
Arsenal
Knock.
channel?
Yeah, he's awesome. Well, he's on the Canon as well with Babs 14 and another guy who I don't know so well. They're really good. I think that's it's on
Different knock.
YouTube. Yeah, you'll really like that. I mean, that's for one. If like when we signed Kai Havertz, that's one of the ones where I went on there and I was like, he talked me around and he was like, "This is why."
I'm going to have a look. I've subscribed, so let's have a little look at that one in a bit.
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Remember how doesn't it make you laugh though? How many people watch a video, really enjoy it, and don't click like? Please, people, you're not paying. I'm doing a. Also, I loved your subscribe video. I'm doing one of my own with in the next.
What's that one?
I'll probably do the one where you go. Thanks for subscribers. You know the little short that you did for getting subscribers and thank you.
Oh yeah, no, I just done a thank you video. Yeah, because. I thought I've done a new intro as well. Oh, your intro's pretty good now. You've done a good one.
I watch a lot of ones where it tells you don't put an intro in, but then I saw your one and I thought it seems to be working. I don't know.
I've got a new intro. I've changed the colour from it was blue, wasn't it? I've changed it to red, and I've managed to put a little. It's on my latest video. Have a look at it when you come in. I wonder if I've. Hang on. 1 sec. For fuck's sake. Yeah, I changed the colour so it's the colour of the Arsenal red, and I also managed to put a little clip of me on one of my videos. Like, you don't hear me voice, but you see me talking and moving around, and then it fades out to the. We've got the background music.
I'll have to. I'm just going to quickly. Yeah, I'm just going to. Yeah, well, I wasn't because I watch a lot of these videos about whether you should put intros in, and the guy would say don't put an intro in because people don't want that; they want to get straight to the content. Don't tell people what you're about to do in the video. I mean, it's all learning, isn't it? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything. Listen, I had a mad one on Saturday because I did a video. Every night I upload a video, and I sometimes I think, oh, that wasn't a very good one. I woke up the next morning, I got 28 subscribers from one video.
Yeah, I don't know where mine have come from. I can't work out how to get the analytics per video.
Yeah, you got to go to. Well, we'll talk about it off camera because we don't want to give away too many of the behind the curtain. This is all technical now, but it's called YouTube Studio, and you go into it. So if you go into on your channel,
I know what YouTube Studio is, but I don't know how to get I do because it comes up. When you go into the content, there's a little.
Yeah, it's the first page it gives you is channel analytics. So the first page is your dashboard, and that will tell you, mate. I am a sucker for clicking that every day. Like, please get another. Like, it's been good last few days, but I like my whole family know how many subscribers I've got. They're up to the. I mean, like.
I've just sent you that.
A brilliant month.
I've just sent you the little. It's only 12 seconds.
Oh yeah.
I've just sent you it. It's a new one.
Oh yeah. I like that.
And you can see me like.
Oh yeah, I like you early in the morning. Is that who's that picture behind you? Is that you?
No, that's my granddad. Oh, what? My boxing one's over there. Yeah.
Is that you? I was going to say because at first I thought no, it's like someone like Rocky Marciano or something, and I thought
no, it's my granddad.
Because it looks like you. That is mad.
Yeah, it's my grandfather. Yeah. He was a welterweight Southern area champion in the 50s.
He looks the part, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a good boxer he was. Yeah, he was. That's behind me. The boxing.
I like the new intro. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like the subscribe to. So I'm going to I'm doing one. Yeah, exactly. I'm doing one tonight that's hopefully a bit funny. But it's always tough when you try and do something funny because you think it's funny and then you load it and you think, oh, it's not very funny.
He's
Yes, well, we want shout outs. Yes, we want shout outs. I want shout outs.
I'll give you both shout outs if you want. Thank you, Dan. Or do you like to be called Dan or Tex Edits? You keep changing the name of your channel. What is it now? It was Tex Edits, and now it's what does it say now?
So what is it? Is he got Tex? Has Tex got a football channel as well? Let me look it up. I'll join that.
He's got he's got it does like videos of little edits, edit is.
What's the? I'll have a look at that. I'll subscribe. I'm always looking for new content. Tex Z, is that the name of the channel? Tex 2Ks with a Z.
I don't know. He's changed. He keeps changing it. I've subscribed ages ago to him. He's got he's always got little shorts of bits and bobs of games and stuff, and he does things on players like Ronaldo and Messi and stuff like that.
Do me a favour, Tex. Dan, or however I should refer to you, please can you put a comment in and I'll capture and I'll give you a little look and subscribe. Always nice to. I mean, apart from anything, you need help on the whole Santi Cazorla issue.
Well, yeah, look, this is it. I think you might have put. What's your at? What's your at? Put at your channel name with the at. Your handle. What's your handle?
There's a DH Tex I found.
DH6. I don't know if he puts his handle in because we've all got handles now, haven't we?
Yeah,
Mine's at Football Dad's Army. Yours is at the Gooner channel.
Yeah.
If he puts his handle in, then you can type it in.
Yeah.
If I highlight it, I'll be upload Dan because
he's got dinners to eat.
Not you, Dan. I mean, Tex Dan. Because yes, it's getting on. Put in. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, cool. Tex is king. Oh, right, okay. Tex is king. Well, I'd rather him than Charles, so that'll do.
Everybody watching this, have a look at Tex as well. If that's his handle, I'll leave it up.
Oh, yeah, found him. Hey, kicking ass. 670 subscribers.
Oh, is he getting? Have you getting the because 500 subscribers now? You get the
he can do what he likes. He's the boss.
Yeah, you get the super thanks and all that now, didn't you?
You man, well done.
Brilliant, yeah.
I shall be a regular viewer. I've subscribed, so I must be 670. Get in.
Yeah. Oh well, mine's gone up. Mine's gone up in a week.
Yeah, listen, I've been watching yours go up and up and up with a bit of jealousy. I was like, all right.
Yeah, yours has gone up as well. You're catching me up.
Yeah, no.
My channel's 6 months older than yours.
You're still ahead. You're still miles ahead. You're still the same place ahead you were. We're both growing the same amount. I hope it's not just it's the start, isn't it? It's always going to be harder at the start. It never gets. Yeah, it's never going to be as hard as this again. So
no, my other channel's only got. I've got more views on. I've got more subscribers on this. On the football channel now than the boxing one, and the boxing one's about.
No, I'll make you laugh. I've got a music channel, and I had the music channel for a couple of years, and every time I upload a video, I'd be like thrilled if 50 people watched it, right? And I've got 800 subscribers because I bought a load, and it's just like there's 800 subscribers. I publish something, and 4 of them will watch it, and I went and listen. It's just got my music on it, so I know what it is. It's like no one's ever. Then the first time I uploaded a football one, I was like, bloody hell, people have watched like 5 minutes of this. You can't a 3-minute pop video, and I make pop videos for other people, so I'm not bad at it. The music's a little bit iffy, but the videos are decent, and I can't get people to watch more than a minute of those. And then there's me sitting there in my office just talking about football, and I got people watching 5 minutes of it. So I was like, right, we'll ditch that, do this, love this.
This is better, isn't it? It's something you like to do. You could do this every day, couldn't you? To talk about football, just talk about what you love every day and get a living out of it. It'd be brilliant.
That's the dream.
It's just a shame that some people that do get a living out of it don't deserve it, in my opinion. I know they work hard.
Well, and you know what? We're not going to go into, but I'm not going to do it that way either. I'm not going to start shouting my mouth off and slagging people off. And
I don't.
No tantrums, no tantrums, no tactics, no tears, just truth. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just going to be me, and some people are going to think, yeah, he's all right, and some people are going to think, what a melt. And
of course, everyone's got. I've had some hate.
Do you know what? I would quite like some. I'd quite like some. I'm not. First they hate you, then they laugh at you, then they love you. That's it, you know. Like I haven't even had the hate yet. I'm still an amoeba.
I've been called all sorts of names. Oh, mate. Someone said something about my teeth once. Someone said something about my eyes. Someone said, "Oh, mate, there's people just they're little dickheads, mate." And say, "All right, mate. All right."
Keyboard warriors.
Show your face on screen. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, they shrink up a little bit.
Sitting in your mum's box room in you know, probably about
in the shed.
You know, yeah. In your
I in all seriousness, you know, like it's something that I expect if I'm successful and make a career out of this as I dream to, you're going to get the haters. And you know what, all I would say is I've never put hate out there, and if someone wants to, if someone sends out hate, it's because there's something they're missing something or they need something, and if they can find it, you know,
it's normally jealousy. But anyway, let's wrap up, Dad.
Have me dinner.
Got to have dinner. So, oh man, I got a Chinese earlier. It was rotten. I've got a little bit of a bellyache. It was horrible. Before I come on, oh no, it weren't. Someone recommended this Chinese to me. First time I've used it, it was filth, man.
There's nothing worse than a one. No, do you finish it though?
Hey, no, I didn't. No, I threw it in the bin.
We can have another one.
No, I'm
have something else then.
I only ate a little bit of it.
Plus, if you've just quit smoking, you're going to need as much food as you can get.
I know. I've got a bag of sweets here.
Yeah.
If someone ate, hang on, let me get my glasses.
Right, I'll read it. If someone hates me on, I wish them a good day. That is the stylish thing to do. I think you can always tell the people, you know, like that's the stylish maneuver. Just go, well, you know, the one I like is if someone's really horrible to me, I always go, who's hurt you? Because it can't be me. I don't even know you. But like, I'm looking forward to seeing some of your content, Tex. And thank you if you give us a shout out, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, so we'd very much appreciate it. So we're going to see you next week. No doubt I'll be doing some more videos during the week in between the times when we're going to be on Dan's channel next week. Obviously doing another roundup for the week's events and whatever
8
goes
o'clock, all right for you normally?
Sorry?
I know we started a bit earlier this week, but are you okay for 8 o'clock next week?
8 o'clock, yep, sweet. Yep, be fine.
Lovely.
All right, then. So we'll see you 8 o'clock next week on the Gooner channel. See you later, everybody.
See you later.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.